Well, here we are. Those are 4 short words to my dad in Shinsu, Maryland, as they arrived down in Zapata, Texas, about 10 days ago. They're true to my dad's plain-spoken, Midwestern, Mark Twaincian way of describing things. And here we are at Windsor Heights Lutheran, with its welcoming congregation, its membership, with its talented and creative artists, and its subtle architecture with crosses above the load-bearing beams. A great place to remember my dad. And here we are, surrounded by friends, coworkers, and family. There's been a movement taking off in America the last 6 years called Maker Fairs. And these are annual fairs in Austin, Texas, the Silicon Valley, and even Detroit. And the participants, my dad would have loved one. The participants showed up with creations that they built from scratch, ranging from spinning artwork to robots that can build a pancake maze and adult-sized pogo sticks. The makers and inventors, they use spare rooms, basements, especially garages, to make these creations. And the garage is my dad's domain, as Kevin mentioned in Bruce Hand's remembrance. 2 items generally stood out as you entered that 2-car garage that Bruce Hand mentioned. A full-bore, anchored to the foundation of the house, shop vise, and a bright orange 200-pound Gravely mower snowblower combination from 1962. The stock 16 horsepower engine of that snowblower, even though it could throw snow, probably hitting most of the wonderful Windsor banners of our favorite stained glass window. That thing could throw that snow, but 16 horsepower was not enough. Instead, it was customized. He added some special steel rods that would cut through the snowdrifts and make sure that they funnel into that contraption just so. And over in our Urbandale home, on the biggest snow days, when the drifts were the biggest, it was since my dad hitting every nearby neighbor's driveway, getting them plowed out with his creation. So in addition to these maker fairs that people bring their contraptions to, there's volunteers and enthusiasts around the country that are creating maker spaces. And these are places with tools and specialty materials that help people in their endeavors to be creative. But as we heard earlier, it was our garage that had the maker space at 8913 Boston, full of hacksaws, bow saws, jigsaws, 4 flavors minimum of needle nose pliers, and all available, and sometimes for neighbors to use, but more often for his creation. And as Karen and Kathy can attest, it was the propane torch used for heating up lead that was ideal for lighting sparklers on 4th of July. So I keep coming back to the maker fairs, the inventors, the creators, and what's important to those folks are materials. And another favorite saying of my dad's, probably from the 1980s, was, well, if you can't get it at Target, you probably don't need it. So he was able to see the possibility in things you could get at Target. Whether it was tin lids that were perfect to be a mold for making plaster, whether it's glass baby jars, which created a Rolodex of bolts, screws, and nuts attached to a chunk of wood, or coat hangers, which became the backbone of many of his metal creations. Materials at Target that became far more than their everyday use when they got into his hands. And it's entirely fitting that, we've got some sportsmen in the audience today, that a German short-haired pointer won the best in show at the Westminster Dog Fair this past week. But, and I have to grin because for Chuck Fowler and others who knew my dad really well, the short-haired pointer, or wire-haired pointer, was the only breed to have, because those Britneys would range way too far ahead and flush the birds out way too early. You had to have the German short-haired pointers. And it's entirely fitting that Maynard Reese, I was a famed artist making wildlife in the woods and draws of Iowa's farmland, was featured this week on the Des Moines Register for the day my dad's obituary. Got a beautiful Maynard Reese picture of quail over rolling hills in southern Iowa on display at our home. And it's fitting that mom and dad's social security number is exactly one digit apart. 2 keys in a pot. So, unlike the shelf full of manuals that Dad kept alongside his computer to guide him, we don't have a manual for the next few weeks and months. But we've got his inventions, we've got you all, we've got his memories to draw upon. So, for the whole family, we're absolutely grateful that you're here today to remember Bob, Rapid Robert, Grandpa Bob,